In today's episode, we are talking about our favorite TV shows from the 1970s. I think we just aged ourselves. But you know what? I don't care. That's okay.
Me no care.
There's a lot of people that, they can relate, that they talk about the shows from the 1970s, the good shows, the sitcoms, the cop
best
shows.
Era. That was a great era.
It was such good shows in that time. And there was, like I say, so many sitcoms, so many cop shows. Like there still is today.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's a lot of cop shows today, but just the sitcoms, it was just so many of them. And there was no binge watching back then.
No.
Because
and there were commercials.
And yes, those are coming back. But there was no binge watching because you got to watch a half hour or 1 hour episode once a week. Right?
Oh,
yeah.
We were restricted.
Yeah. And we were restricted how many channels we got to watch.
3 channels,
yeah,
I
3
remember.
channels. Yeah.
When we finally got a TV.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there were CBC,
CTV,
and
French channel.
Yeah.
That's what I had, the French channel.
Right.
We're also originally from northern Alberta, so we were a little...
The families were big.
Yeah.
A lot of kids back then.
And speaking of big families, well, the youngest got to be the TV remote.
Yes.
Because there was no clicker or anything or apps, where you can just slide over to the next episode or
Dad
whatever.
would say, go change the channel. We don't... To the second channel, to the other channel,
right?
He didn't have to say, but now we have too much choice. I think.
And the TVs were like you had the maybe 1 or 2 buttons, one to change the channel, and one where it was to get more clarity because it was a tube. There was tubes in it, right?
The sound,
and the sound. So three of them. So and there was a lot of cabinetry around the TVs as well.
My grandma, I remember her, she was an artist. She would take clay and create creatures like rabbits and whatever. And she also painted. She had painted this scenery, and there was an old TV cabinet that was gutted out because it didn't work anymore. And she actually put the picture inside the TV, and it was like this picture inside this big cabinet. It was like a continual,
right?
Well, the same picture all the time.
Those cabinets were nice, actually, because you did get where you could have a great big console. The TV was mainly in the middle, but on one side you could open up the top, and there was a record player in there, and the other side actually had I think 8 tracks. I've seen.
Oh my gosh, we are going back to caveman days.
So people, once those TVs gave out, and then TVs evolved,
they kept the cabinet.
They kept the cabinet, and they did. They put a picture in there, or they I think I even heard of people putting like an aquarium in there.
Oh,
right? To have fish in there or whatever, because the quality of the wood was good. Mm-hmm. Them suckers were heavy.
Oh my goodness!
Try to move those around when you set up your TV in a room, right?
And now we have flat screen TVs where you put it under your arm. I walked out with one out of the Costco.
Yeah, did you pay for it, or you just walked out?
No, I just figured it was on display. I'll just take it. No, no, I did pay for it. It was a little discounted because it was a display. So.
Display, but there you go.
And the deep, big, heavy TVs that. Oh my gosh, yeah. Things have changed in our worlds.
Picture quality. Wow. Not like you don't see everybody's pores on their face like you do now. I feel sorry for even sportscasters and stuff, like it's right up there, and just like you're looking inside their pores. You didn't get that. Yeah.
Close-ups, yes. But there were awesome sitcoms then. We have great memories.
Oh, absolutely.
So what were yours? What were your favorite? I think we probably have quite a few of the same.
Yeah, we did. And, my first one that comes to mind is Happy Days. Yeah, I loved Happy Days, especially because of the Fonz. Like, and if you're listening and you're like Happy Days and the Fonz, you gotta. I'm pretty sure you can find it on YouTube or something. Yeah, you have to look up the Fonz. The Fonz was so cool, and Richie Cunningham, those guys, and Potsy and Ralph Malph.
They had all their different characters for sure that had these characteristics. They were like, Fonzie was the cool one, cool and calm, and everybody wanted to be
cool.
All the girls would just fall for him. Yeah, that was a fun show.
Yeah, it was.
I go back maybe a little further. I don't know. Hillbillies was my the black and white. It was actually black and white.
It was when it first came out. Yeah, well, that's what I remember was black and white, but not for long. I don't remember that it was black and white for long.
But the characters on there just made me laugh. Like little Granny, she was so awesome, and Jethro and Jed, Ellie Mae.
Yeah, Ellie Mae. They were just so. Their characters were innocently stupid. If you want to use the word stupid, they're not very smart, uneducated. Just, because they were hillbillies and didn't know anything about city life. They didn't know about electricity. They didn't know
or the amount of money they had. The value of their money. People that are listening or watching our episode here right now, our podcast. If you've watched these shows, you know what we're talking about. And if you're listening and you haven't, you should check them out because they're just these innocent but just fun. And the creative the writing. The writing was very creative.
It was. And just to show how when people live out in the bush, so to speak, and then come into city life and just have no concept of money, no concept of a lot of things, right?
Yeah, they came out of the bush in this little log shack into this mansion, and what made me laugh is like the pool table and the cue sticks, right? That they didn't know what pool was. So they use them as pot
lifters. Lifters. So when they would pass around the pots they use the
pool table as a table.
Yeah, as a table, dining room table.
What was the little pockets for? Do you remember what the
I can't remember what
to keep something in there.
I can't remember what they used them for, but yeah.
But it was genius. The writers were genius. Yeah. To make them, appear uneducated, of course, and bringing them into this scenario of a rich lifestyle. Yeah. So all these really rich things that, people that had money knew what they were.
They didn't. They had no clue.
So they would make up these really out of the world.
Yeah, like the cement pond, the pool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was the cement pond.
And they had their ducks in there.
And there was pink birds, which was flamingos. Yeah, they had no clue, right?
Oh my god!
Yeah, and old Jed, he had quite the sayings, but well, doggy. Yeah, when you'd figure something out. Yeah.
And what's another one? As a kid, I remember the Flintstones. I used to have to go. I went to school, and we had moved to town at the time.
Town kid.
I was a farm kid, moved into town as a town kid after that. Yeah. And I'd go to school, but at lunch I'd go home and I couldn't wait because I'd watch the Flintstones while I ate.
Yes.
And that was
one of those kids who was so jealous of those kids that could go home and watch the Flintstones at lunchtime because I lived out of town, like many of us did, and the only time we got to watch Flintstones is if it was really cold outside and at recess or lunchtime. The school they had all these TVs on stands and that they could roll on wheels that they could roll into the classroom, and those TVs were used for educational purposes,
sex education.
Yeah. But now we're watching the Flintstones, and or if you were sick and you were at home, and so you got to watch the Flintstones while you're eating your chicken noodle soup or whatever, right? Or got to watch the Flintstones.
Oh, but that was well written as well. Like
it was,
and it's interesting because it was so popular that they actually made a live show of it.
Yes,
like a
they
movie,
did.
a movie
Yeah,
with
that's
John,
right.
not John Candy. What's
I can picture him, but the name's not coming to me right now. Yeah. But
yeah,
and some spin-offs. There were spin-offs from certain sitcoms. So like from Happy Days, there was Laverne and Shirley.
Yeah.
I think they brought those characters in, and then people loved those characters so much so that they did like a spin-off to their own show. So Laverne and Shirley, and they were really funny as well.
I don't think I watched that one as much.
Yeah.
No. But I do recall, definitely Happy Days.
Walt Disney. That was a Sunday favorite. It was on every Sunday at 6 p.m. And we would eat supper before Walt Disney because we weren't allowed to eat in the living room until TV tables came out. Yeah, then that was a real treat. Then we got to sit at a TV table and
on
eat
the couch
and
have your little table in front of you. Yeah,
and eat our supper and watch Walt Disney. And it was an hour-long episode, and sometimes it would be a 2-part show. So you're like you're watching and you're eating your supper, and then it gets to the end and goes, and
to be continued.
to be continued. You're like, ah, and you had to
wait all week.
You had to wait all week till next Sunday to watch. Yeah. The part 2.
Do you recall it was really an event, wasn't it? Like
it was.
Walt Disney. Nowadays you're just flicking from channel to channel or Netflix, Prime, whatever. But in those days we had such a limited amount, of programs to watch. But Walt Disney was 6 o'clock Sunday. We knew that was coming up.
If you were out for the afternoon, you made sure you were home.
Yeah, you couldn't record it like we can these days. But I remember just being so excited. And yes, we could eat in front of the TV during that time only
for that.
And so it was just like I remember Old Yeller like made me cry. There was so many good movies.
There was
the twins when they played tricks on their parents. They were together, but they found out they were twins. What was it called? Like
geez, yeah. No,
it's
I'm got to go back in the recesses
I'm scrolling,
of my
but
mind.
There were some really good.
There was a lot of great shows,
but heartwarming.
Yes,
heartwarming shows.
Yeah,
that really pulled at your heartstrings.
Yes,
or
wholesome.
Made you happy.
Yes,
happy
wholesome,
shows.
Heartwarming. Some of them that made you cry, but most times you were just like watching, and you were like this. Like what I'm doing. If you're listening, is I'm like a.
Slow motion.
Slow motion.
You're
putting your fork to your mouth and got your eyes on the TV there and just watching what's going to happen next.
Yeah, I really, really love Walt Disney. I'm still to this day love cartoons like Shrek and Toy Story and those kind of animated movies.
Yeah, I
really love. I'm such a kid at heart. We're kids at heart.
Mickey Mouse.
Yeah.
Mickey.
Yeah, those were good times watching Walt Disney.
Yes.
Yeah, he made Three's Company.
I was just going to say Three's Company.
Now, they were over the top a little bit. If you watch the show now, you look and think, oh my God, they're so over the top.
Over actors.
But at that time, it was funny.
It was.
Jack Tripper was
we didn't know any different,
crazy,
right?
crazy.
And so that's where we just... that comedy, it was just so funny. And Jack Tripper character was just
and what was the
Chrissy and Janet.
Susan, what was her last name?
Suzanne Summers. Yeah.
Susie. Like we went to school together. No. She acted so dumb, but man, was she brilliant. She was a very, very smart an entrepreneur and very, very smart woman. Yeah. Acting a dumb part, like right?
Yeah, that's right.
but they tried to hide the fact that he was a straight guy living with 2 women.
Yes, because back then that was taboo, for a guy to be living with 2 women, right?
It was quite risque at that time to do that to show that. Yeah.
So that was kind of the premise of the whole show, and it was kind of showing how, like, oh my God, a guy can't live with 2 women. Yeah. So they had to always make it
pretense of being gay.
Yeah, you had to be.
Right.
You had to make it look like he was gay so that the landlord wouldn't kick him out at that time, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Pardon me.
He did a lot of really crazy stuff. He was very agile.
Yeah, he was.
He would jump over couches and hide and shower in the bathroom so he wouldn't be caught.
And the way he jumped around, it was just crazy.
What was his crazy roommate? Not roommate, but the fellow
Larry.
He was the womanizer.
Yeah, he was the womanizer, right? So they.
and Mr. Furley, who was just the nervous guy and the big eyes.
Even before Mr. Furley, the Ropers. Yeah, the Ropers.
That's right. They finally had
Stanley.
You did that quite well.
Stanley. What was her name? I can't remember now, but she knew that Jack Tripper was not gay. Right? So she would always try to pull the wool over Stanley's eyes, and she would roll her eyes at Stanley because he come up with.
My dad really enjoyed watching that show along with Carol Burnett.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that is another show, and Mr. Tim Conway, he would just make people laugh so hard.
He would,
so off the cuff, like he would do things spontaneous, like on set. That made
Harvey Korman. Yeah, he would try his damnedest to make Harvey Korman laugh and just make the whole cast laugh as well. And most times he was making Harvey laugh.
Yeah.
And Harvey would kind of try to really.
I think it was a challenge that Tim did. It was something he really tried to really do. Make him laugh.
He did. Yeah. My husband read his autobiography. And that was his thing. His purpose was to make Harvey laugh. And I remember one particular scene. It's where why is her name leaving me right now? Vicki Lawrence.
Vicki Lawrence.
Yes, she played Mama. And Mama and Tim Conway was talking about an elephant and how he would snark and he was just going on, and they were all looking at him like, what the hell are you talking about?
Where did that come from?
Yeah. And so he just kept going, and then finally, I think Vicki Lawrence just went, "You little asshole," and then they all just cracked right up.
I can't believe they didn't bleep that out.
I know they did
in those days, right?
In those days, but
man. But speaking of Vicki Lawrence, I remember I didn't know she was actually she a singer. Mm-hmm. She's a singer, and she recorded the night the lights went out in Georgia. But the first time I heard that song was Reba McEntire's version,
right?
Who knew?
I didn't know. She had a hell of a voice.
In those days, I didn't really know that a singer could be an actress as well, or an actress could be a singer. That was really awesome. Mm-hmm. It gave me a new respect for her, for sure, because she could really act the funny part. Like she was hilarious. All of them were. They had such great skits.
Yes, they did. And the props sometimes, like the walls, it was so fun. When you can watch it now, and sometimes when they'd slam a door,
it would shake.
It would shake the whole wall. I think one time even the wall fell over.
They had live audiences in those days, so that really made it an extra hilarious, I guess.
So they had to go along with whatever happened, right?
And Mrs. O'Higgins.
Oh yes,
and that was Vicki Lawrence. Yeah. Oh no, that was Carol Burnett.
Yeah, Mr. O'Higgins, wasn't it? Yeah, Mrs. O'Higgins. Oh yes, he'd call her Mrs. O'Higgins, but he was the old man, and he'd shuffle and
that. My dad, like I said, he loved Tim Conway.
Yeah.
And he would literally have a hanky ready to wipe his tears away because he'd laugh so hard to tears. And he'd just slap his knee and laugh and laugh. I remember my dad's passed on now for so many years, but yeah, I can recall that. That just I actually was watching my dad laugh.
Yeah. Well, it made you laugh.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, exactly.
It just.
So it was shows like that just, it was just such good humor and just, it was, I'm so grateful that we grew up in that time and had those wholesome shows, right? City Girls and
Cowgirls
is our new single as of May 17th and is available on all digital platforms. This was a fun song to write because We talked about everything that a city girl does and everything that a
cowgirl does.
That's right. And we brought it together, and it's actually a fun line dancing tune. Two-steppy line dancing. So have a listen on the digital platform of your choice. City Girls and Cowgirls.
We're all just city girls and cowgirls.
Bonanza was like more like a Western.
Yes.
And I remember being like, we just got our TV, and I was just a little girl. And I was so enthralled and so intrigued by this box with voices and, everything.
Right.
But I remember, my mom and dad maybe watching Bonanza, and I'd sneak behind the couch. I'd be in bed, but I'd crawl out and watch a little bit, like on my elbows, laying down, watching. So amazed. Like these people would just be like,
they were on the screen.
On the screen. The horses.
Screen.
How did they get the horses in that little box?
Right? Yeah. How did they do that?
And I have to share a little story. I remember this lady. She stayed with us when my mom and dad had rooms to rent out.
Right.
We lived in town, and this older lady. She was oblivious of movies and how they could have people acting, but she thought when she watched the screen, they were literally
in the box.
If it was nighttime on TV, she'd see it daytime outside, and she'd say, "What are they doing? Why is it what?"
Oh,
she took everything as literally.
Oh,
and then there was a commercial of people washing her hair or whatever. Why would she be washing her hair at this time of the night?
Oh,
she just had no concept of.
Did she come from the Beverly Hillbillies?
Kind of. She was really. Not.
It really threw her off because as an older person, when TV just came out, right?
Yeah. So it's kind of like a giggling thing for us. We look at each other and kind of giggle because we knew better. But anyways, just a little thing.
Yeah.
A little side note
very
there.
Interesting, though. Yeah.
Kind of like a caveman looking into the future,
right?
What's going on here?
Yeah, what is going?
We created the wheel. What
happened?
We had rocks, stones. Anyway,
yes.
What else? What else you got?
Well, I liked watching some cop shows. There was many of them back then. There was Streets of San Francisco, Kojak.
Oh yeah.
But
Magnum PI
and Starsky and
Magnum
Hutch.
PI
He
then?
was later. I think 80s. Yeah.
Okay.
And then there was Starsky and Hutch. Maybe they were later too. But it was on the tip of my tongue here. Hawaii Five-0. That was McGarrett. Yes.
Yeah.
McGarrett had the slick back hair, and he was a handsome dude. But the theme song, when the theme song came on.
What was the theme song? Now, do you know who recorded that?
No.
Okay, well, we need to look it up. Because that's true. When I've heard, I remember that theme song, and then I'd hear it on the radio, and I'm going, what's going on?
Yeah, how can it be on the radio when it's a theme song for a TV show?
I should look
right?
it up right now.
Yeah,
but it definitely was a theme song that was. They used it.
Yes.
It was recorded prior, and they used it as for the movie.
Yeah. So it was, and then at the beginning they also showed like the waves of the ocean. Like it was Hawaii, and it was like coming from northern Alberta and never seeing the ocean. It was just like. I was really intrigued.
Yeah.
Maybe
you just liked all the.
Maybe that's why I still love the ocean till this day. Yeah.
Who knows? Right.
But I really loved that song, and I loved watching McGarrett. He just figured out everything. And my dad would say, like halfway through the episode, he would be like, "Oh, McGarrett will figure it out."
Yeah, it's kind of like MacGyver, MacGyver in my time. Oh man, but I remember a couple of shows. I don't remember the cop shows much because I don't know why. That just didn't,
right?
But I remember Bewitched.
Oh
and
yes.
I remember I Dream of Jeannie.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. That's just the fairy tale kind of stuff,
right?
I really like. Maybe I'm still living in a fairy tale.
Well, you like WKRP in Cincinnati.
That one. Yes.
Yeah.
I remember Johnny Fever, that character. And I do recall the one episode where I think he was either, I don't know if he was drinking or smoking. That maybe it was the weed.
Yeah, maybe. He was stoned quite a bit. Yeah.
Okay, it was the stone. For me, it's tequila. For him, it was the weed.
But tequila gives us a stone.
They were trying to putting him through a test to see his reaction time, like if he was sober, like clear-minded and everything, how fast he would be. And it seemed like the more he was under the influence, he would get faster. There was
kind of like you.
Yeah, I know. I'm on high speed like an Energizer bunny when I'm drinking tequila. But he had this button, and he had to hit it.
Oh, yes.
Hit it, when he was given the trigger or whatever to set it, and he would just get faster. The more stoned he was, he would just get faster.
Well, it's kind of like you drinking tequila, and we did our tequila Christmas song and had the beer, no vodka, no.
Yeah, I was just doing the thing.
You got faster and faster.
Check it out on YouTube.
Yes, we'll put a link in the description.
Yeah,
tequila Christmas. You'll see how fast she was moving bottles around.
2 bottles of tequila later, drinking. Yeah, I was getting pretty fast there. Quick draw McGraw. Yeah.
Jeffersons, that was another one because Mr. Jefferson and his wife Louise, but he called her Wheezy.
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 Hey, was Prince of Bel-Air also during that time? That was after.
That was after.
So Jeffersons, but there was a spin-off of Jeffersons, right?
I can't remember if there was or not. Yeah, I'm not sure if there was a spin-off. There was a lot of spin-offs from like even All in the Family. There was spin-offs from that as well. Yeah, good old All in the Family.
Archie.
If you want to,
oh my god,
Archie.
Oh my gosh,
those were the days.
Oh, you're so good. You sound like it. Oh boy, yeah. That was a politically incorrect type of show.
Every episode. If you think people are politically incorrect these days, watch All in the Family.
Archie was the.
But that's what it was all based around at that time. That's why that show was what it was, is because there was lots of racism going on and different things. Yeah. So it was trying to bring awareness to everything, actually.
Yeah. So, do you think it got better or worse?
It got worse. It's gotten worse.
It's gotten worse.
Yeah.
For sure.
So unfortunately,
like everybody's so distinct now. Like everybody, you're just pointing fingers. You're different. You're different. You're different. Instead of just being.
Yeah, exactly. Being all the same.
Yeah.
Yes.
We're human. Yeah. I think if I cut myself, my blood's red, just like yours.
Yeah, exactly.
Whether you're a black person, yellow, whatever color.
Yeah.
The blood's all red.
Yeah, it's all the same.
I digress, but it's probably a topic I would probably want to discuss one day.
And why don't they? Is there a TV show today that addresses that? I don't know, because I don't watch TV now. Yeah, I'm too busy doing other things.
You're busy being human.
Well,
you're being.
Yeah, that's being for sure. So another top one for me was MASH. I really liked
yes,
MASH.
I did.
Yeah, it was based around the Vietnam War that was happening at the time, actually.
Mm-hmm.
So, with the doctors that had to go over there and live in these camps and operate on
away
injured,
from their families or loved ones.
Yeah, exactly. They were, and Klinger was the the character where he wanted to get discharged so badly. He kept dressing as a woman or in different characters. I don't know where he got his clothes from.
Yeah,
but
the laundry,
it was a TV show. But he was always trying to get discharged, doing something wonky, but they had him figured. So
they were so they really played it out well to have like the comical part of it, but then they also had like really serious topics and issues that they dealt with. People dying, people having their arms blown off and dealing with depression or whatever. They hit all of it. They really did.
Even things they were going through, being there, right, as doctors and being, like you say, being away from their families. So a lot of those TV
very
shows,
relatable.
Yeah, they were relatable, and it was all about things that were happening at that time. So, but as a kid, watching those, I I was just watching a show. I wasn't understanding that it was about the issues of the time. It wasn't until now that they talk about those shows that this is the reason why this show was, that's they were talking about this issue. Good Times was another one about Black families immigrating and living in small apartments and having to go to white schools and stuff. So there's another situation that, that they were trying to bring awareness to, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was,
I think The Jeffersons was probably one of the first shows out there, programs that had a Black family, as the main characters.
I'm not sure. We'd have to research.
Did I say Jeffersons? Yes.
Yeah.
Jeffersons.
Yeah.
Actually, that they are the spinoff of All in the Family. That's right.
Yes, they are, because they're new neighbors. Yeah. That's right.
So then the Jeffersons got their own program.
Yes.
Right. But like now, there is a whole channel of Black programs, like a lot of Black actors. Which is awesome. I mean, I think. There's just so many people out there just struggling with their identity or who they are. But I mean, we are human.
Yeah, that's right.
Just to accept everybody as their.
But I think lots of them, like I say, they were lots of those shows were dealing with different issues in their cultures.
The culture.
Yeah. So
for sure.
Yeah. So what else for top shows? Yeah.
Well, I'm not sure about series. Series was All My Children.
Oh yeah, there was those soap operas. Yeah, the soap operas.
What was your favorite soap?
My mom watched Another World all the time.
Another World.
Yeah, but that was daytime. So there was the daytime and then the nighttime. So the nighttime was Dallas.
Was it way back then?
Yes. Yeah. Oh, maybe. Well, was it in the 70s or
maybe later?
It was early 80s because I remember I graduated in 1984, and and I remember in high school everybody being.
At least you graduated.
Everybody being hyped up about Dallas. Yeah. Like we'd watch I think it was Tuesday nights and Who Shot JR or whatever was going on. It was discussed at school the next day. We were all into this nighttime soap opera of Dallas, right? And it was.
They were nasty on that show, though, right? Conniving.
Oh yes, JR. So
many conniving.
And that's what made it so interesting, I guess, is because everybody conniving and backstabbing.
Oh, it was crazy. But they made like the first series episode. Right. And then the series, whatever. Yeah. And then you had to wait till the fall.
Yes,
to find
that's
out who
right.
Shot JR.
That's right. It would start late September, early October, the series.
Yeah.
And then it would end probably end of April, May. And then they would just show reruns for the summer. Reruns.
And now we have PVR. You can record all your shows.
So they would
not now.
Lots of these, so lots of these shows would end on a high note. It would be a cliffhanger, suspense, and you had to wait 4 months before you found out who shot JR, right? Or whatever would happen next in the series. And now we can binge watch.
Yeah. We live in a different world.
Oh, yeah. And you get into a series, and if you're bored or the weather is cold outside, that's about the only time I watch TV. And you get into a series and you watch, and you're like, oh, I watched them all?
I'm getting so bad that my memories, I forget, and I can watch a show and get halfway through and go, wait a minute, I think I've seen this one before.
I've done that.
The whole beginning of it, I don't recall.
Yeah.
But then
all of a sudden, you must have slept through the beginning last time and woke up.
With lack of sleep sometimes, I just might have done that. But the memory kind of but during the times where we were stuck at home, COVID times, we all binge watched.
We all did,
And so there were now to say, you remember that movie with the guy and this other guy and they did this? Because you've seen so many movies that you can't remember the names anymore because it's just all a blur. Mm-hmm. The guy that did that to the other guy and then they got out of it okay.
Yeah, and he was blonde, maybe brunette. I can't remember.
Oh God. Oh,
but back in the 70s, you had to wait a week to watch the next episode or wait for the season. You had to wait 4 months till the next season started. So it was, and that's when we talked to each other.
Yeah.
We talk about it at school or in conversations. I remember, like, even as being a kid, you talk about it at school, and then I remember the adults would be talking about it around the kitchen
table.
around the kitchen table.
Yeah,
right?
We didn't have cell phones.
No,
we weren't glued to our
couldn't
cell phones
text
then.
each other or whatever. The next day it was, did you watch the Walt Disney last night? And go, no, I missed it. What did I miss?
Yeah.
And you had to wait till the summer and hopefully catch the rerun.
Yeah. So we had some really good, it was a good era.
Yeah, it was.
Awesome.
Yeah.
See, we talk about it. We like it warms our hearts just talking about some of these movies or these shows, you know.
Yeah, it was a great time. So put in the comments below if there's some shows that we didn't mention that you remember that meant a lot to you, or you watched it a lot, or or you just have good memories.
Yeah, the good memories of these shows.
of these shows. So so thank you for listening to this episode about our favorite shows from the 1970s. Yeah.
We're getting up there.
Yeah. Cheers until the next time. Thank you for listening to today's Sugar and Spice podcast. We really appreciate you listening. We'd also appreciate if you could follow us on our socials on Facebook, Instagram, and our YouTube channel. Please go to our YouTube channel and subscribe. Follow us on Facebook and on Instagram. And please provide comments of how you enjoyed this wonderful podcast. We'd like to have fun, and we'd like to have our listeners have fun along with us.